The people of Turkey are preparing to vote in upcoming parliamentary elections that will decide the future of the country's political system, and according to statistical data, only a small segment of society will not bother to cast their vote. According to data compiled by the Pew Research Center, the second highest turnout rate among advanced countries is in Turkey, with 86.4% of people voting in the last round of parliamentary elections held in 2011. Only 2 countries have a higher turnout, with Belgium at 87.2% and Sweden at 82.6%. Voting in Turkey is compulsory and the penalty for not voting is around TL22, $8, but the law is not effectively enforced because enforcement is costly. It is not clear if the high turnout rate in Turkey is driven by this law, but Turkish society is deeply divided among political lines and people believe a change of government will have a significant impact on their daily lives. The turnout is measured based on votes cast compared to the percentage of eligible voters. The Pew data showed that Turkey is in second place out of 34 countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, with the US lagging behind most of its developed peers in 31st place. Pew's data also showed that Belgium and Turkey are among the 28 nations around the world, and 6 in the OECD, where voting is compulsory, according to the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, IDEA. Pew noted that while compulsory voting laws are not always strictly enforced, their presence or absence can have dramatic impacts on turnout. Of the 5 OECD countries with the highest turnout in recent elections, 3 have laws requiring their citizens to cast their ballots. The data from IDEA showed that Turkey has always had high turnout, ever since multi-party elections were introduced in the early 1950s. The highest turnout was recorded in 1987, 93.2%, when people voted to elect a wide range of politicians who were banned from politics for 5 years due to a military coup in 1980. The 1987 elections preserved the rule of one of the most popular Turkish politicians to date, the late President Turgut Özal. The 1983 elections, where only 3 parties were allowed to run by a state security body dominated by the military junta, also saw the second highest turnout in Turkish history, 92.27%. Until the 1983 elections, voting in Turkey was not compulsory and the turnout was as low as 64%, 1969, an almost 16% drop from a previous elections that were held right after Prime Minister Adnan Menderes was executed following a military coup d'état. Turkish people showed up in great numbers in the elections held in the 1990s, a so-called decade of coalition governments, with all elections having a turnout higher than 80%. The 1999 elections, in which the Democratic Left Party, DSP, of late Prime Minister and veteran Turkish politician Bülent Ecevit triumphed, saw an 87% turnout. The following years were plagued with a massive earthquake, devastating economic crisis and unceasing political turmoil. The turnout in the 2002 elections dropped 8% to 79%. The 2002 elections brought to power the Justice and Development Party, AK Party. Turks showed a high turnout in 2007, 84%, and in 2011, 88%, to preserve the rule of Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who became president in 2014. The voter turnout in last year's presidential elections, however, was comparatively low, 74%.